Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, hello and welcome. My name is Megan and welcome to my beginner series on starting your fitness journey. I'm so excited to have you guys here and help you guys through this process. I'm very proud of you guys for wanting to transform and start your journey. I have two other videos in the series. If you guys would like to watch those, I'll be sure to have them linked down below. I definitely think that they're beneficial if you guys have not yet seen them. This video is going to be building upon my previous video, which was all about making a workout split that is appropriate and catered towards your goals. In that video, I talk you guys through how to make a split and considerations for making it, but I did not talk you guys through how to structure a very specific workout day. I wanted to make a separate video on this as I feel that that video would have just gotten too long and overwhelming. So welcome to the second part of the planning process of starting your fitness journey, which is going to be all about how to structure a workout. And the key things that I'm going to talk to you guys about in today's video are going to be understanding exercise choices, understanding exercise order, and a little bit of guidance on how to choose rep schemes, but I'm not going to get too much into that today as I feel again that that is loaded and might belong in a different video. To start out, I feel like a question that I get a lot, which sometimes is very difficult to answer, is going to be about what exercises go on what day. And at some point, I do want to sit down and make a full video kind of talking you guys through the different muscle groups and what exercises target each one. That's going to take me a little bit of time. I do have that in my goal book for you guys, but for now, we just have to work with what I can do. When it comes to knowing what exercises target what, I have three things that I think will help you guys in understanding. The first thing is going to be research. I know that this sounds annoying, but you have to take some time to learn if you really want to know. Obviously, we kind of have an idea of what hits lower body versus upper body, and I think that that's a really good basis to start with. However, as time goes on, you do want to start to learn the specific muscles and what's targeting them. If you want to grow a specific thing, you have to know what is going to work it. When it comes to research, I highly recommend just Googling a simple search of what exercises target X, and a lot will come up. That's where I did a lot of my learning. I also have a degree and background in exercise science, so I was fortunate enough to learn the body and the body parts and exercise behind it. But if you don't have that background, that's okay. You absolutely can still learn. And I like to tell people my second thing is practice and doing things is really going to teach you exercises and what they target. The more you practice, the better mind to muscle connection that you get and feel, and then the more you're going to understand and associate a movement with a body part. For example, if you've literally never done a bicep curl, you probably don't really know what muscle it's going to hit. As you continuously do the bicep curls and you see where it's burning, you're going to start to realize, oh, this is the muscle that it's hitting. And you obviously want to be intentional with trying to learn. My last tip is going to be asking people. Watching workout patterns show a lot. So for example, you can ask someone, hey, what is this target? Where should I be feeling this? And that's important to know because you want to make sure that you're doing the movement correctly. The second thing, I feel like I did most of my learning through workouts that I would watch online. And I always tell you guys, take things with a grain of salt. Not everyone knows as much as they seem. So obviously don't just trust one source, but if you can find someone that you really trust and you really trust their judgment on what they're doing and they look like they have the right background, you'll see them maybe post something that says push day, chest, shoulders, triceps, and you might see them say the movements that go under that day and start to understand what's targeting what. So a big thing is really just going to be repetition and practice and realizing with mind to muscle connection as well as your own research what's targeting what. Like I mentioned before, I think the biggest thing to know at the very start isn't everything. That's okay if you don't know everything. The biggest thing to know is what's upper body, what's lower body, so you know how to break up what you're putting in one day and what you're putting in the other day. Before I get into structuring your actual workout, I want to talk to you guys about what a compound movement is and what accessory/isolation movements are, because I'll be saying those a lot and I want to make sure that you guys understand the terms. I also think that they are kind of a word that people throw around a lot within the gym community, and it's important just to know what they mean. So a compound movement is going to be a movement that is working multiple muscles at the same time. So what does that mean? That means that there's going to be more full body recruitment in these movements, whereas isolation movements or accessory movements are going to be more isolated. So they're going to focus a little bit more on one specific muscle as opposed to the whole body. Just to give you guys some examples so it's easier to kind of understand, with a compound movement, we're going to think of our big three. What are our big three? Squat, bench, and deadlift. These are three things that you need more than just your legs to achieve them, or you need more than just your arms to achieve them. They are a full body movement because we are going to be recruiting our core, we're going to be recruiting our legs, our upper body, all of the different parts of our body, and that's why they're considered compound compound, whereas isolation or accessory is going to be isolated to a specific muscle. Some examples of isolation movements could be a quad extension machine, a bicep curl, a tricep extension, chest cable flies, things like that that are really just focusing on one part of the body at a time. Now that you have an understanding of what is a compound and what is an accessory / isolation movement, now you guys can understand why compound should come first and accessory and isolation should come second. Compound movements are going to be those movements that you're using more full body. Obviously, if we're using more full body, these are going to be the movements that we can try and over time load heavier. We can add more weight to. We can challenge ourselves more on, but they're also going to be, in turn, the exercises that are going to be a little bit more strenuous, a little bit more tiring and fatiguing, and these are the movements that you want to have as much fresh energy to use towards as possible. And that is going to be the reason that compound movement should come first in your day, in your routine. So when you go to the gym, that is why you should aim for the squat rack first, do your squats first before trying to do your quad extension. And another thing is that compounds in some cases can be a bit more dangerous to fail, and so you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're already fatigued and then putting yourself in a place where your body's not in a great position if you were needing to fail. But in short, because the compounds are going to be the most demanding, the most tiring, and the ones that you can load the most, we want to put those first. For example, in an upper body day, you want to put your pressing movements first. These are going to be the ones that you're able to load a bit more. These are going to be the ones that you want to emphasize first while everything is nice and warmed up and you're feeling nice and healthy and energized and ready to go. Then you can move into your accessory and isolation movements, such as your lateral raises, your tricep cable extensions, things like that. For lower body days, the same thing goes. You want to focus on the movements that are going to be the most taxing, which are going to include RDLs, hip thrusts, deadlifts, squats, just the things that are going to require a lot more of your energy and your strength, where you want to be at your strongest. Then after that, you can move into things like your cable kickbacks and your leg extensions and your hamstring curls, things that are going to be more isolated to each specific muscle, because just in general, obviously we're not going to be doing those at as heavy of weights as we're going to be doing our compound movement. Let's say in a workout day, you're doing more than one compound movement. How do you decide which one comes first? I think that's a question that I'll get a lot. So let's say you're doing your squat and your deadlift on the same day. How do you decide which one comes first? That truly is going to be up to you and your goals. I've had workout days where I was doing squat and deadlift on the same day. And when I'm doing that, it depends which one I'm working to strengthen first or most. So let's say I'm in a training block with a focus on getting a stronger squat. I would do my squat first and then I would do my deadlift second. So you're still going to do them at the beginning, but choose the one to go first. That's the one that's your priority. Sometimes if the gym is super busy, you have no choice and you have to mix them around, and that's okay. Just make sure that when you're programming rep schemes and weights that you keep in mind what is going to be more or less fatigued. And a lot of people also ask me if exercise order matters on the non-compound movements in your day. And I would say generally no. You can kind of get away with doing whatever order is best. I would say, let's say you're doing a glute day and you have a lot of upper glute movements and a lot of lower glute movements, maybe revolving between the two to give different muscles a little break could be good. Or let's say you have 2 hamstring movements in a day, maybe split them up unless you're intentionally putting them together to see if there's a little bit less fatigue. But overall, I would say, especially when talking beginner, just make sure compounds are first and accessories are second, and don't get too worried about the order. It's more about just ensuring that you do your compounds first and you really aim and emphasize to challenge yourself throughout the day with all your movements and progressively overload and be consistent over time. Lastly, I just wanted to briefly talk about rep schemes. I'm not going to talk about them too much. I would say for beginners, my top tips would be to aim for 3 to 4 sets of anywhere from 8 to 15 reps, just depending on what the movement is. Generally, if you're looking to train for strength, I would say 6 reps and below are going to be more of your best friend, because you don't want to be doing too high of rep ranges where it's going to be harder to add weight. And if you're just training for overall aesthetics, I would say you can be anywhere from that 8 to 15 range, just depending on the movement and the weight that you're using. The reason I can't tell you exactly what rep scheme to do is because it's not one size fit all. Doing 4x12 for everything isn't necessarily beneficial, but I would say it's not a bad thing. Just make sure you're picking the weight that's appropriate. It's more about total volume and the weights that you're using. At the beginning, I think one of the biggest things is really just to focus on having a split that you love, having exercises within the split that are complementary to your goals, and being consistent long term while trying to challenge yourself as you can. And if you're doing all three of those things, you're gonna see the results. Don't worry too much about the little nitpicky things right now. That's something that I would worry a little bit more about later when your goals become a little bit more specific and clear. And the last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is warm-ups and cool down super quickly. So obviously you want to warm up before you start and you want to cool down at the end. For a warm-up, you want to do more dynamic styles of warming up, dynamic stretching. This means mimicking the movement patterns that you're likely going to be doing in that day. And we've just seen that dynamic stretching is better for pre-workout. You don't have to go through a full glute activation routine, as I feel like I believe that you had to at the beginning, and a lot of people do too. It's really just about getting your muscles awake and warm. You don't want to warm up and fatigue yourself in any way, so you don't have to do like 80 air squats before you warm up. You just want to get your body warm and ready. I have examples of my warm-ups that I can put down below from my Instagram if you guys want to check those out. But like I said, find what works for you. Just make sure that you're warming up and you're not just jumping into loading the weights. Same goes for your compound movements. As you begin to get stronger, it doesn't mean that you just start on the weight you're going to use. Do some warm-up sets and then go into your working set. And as for a cool down, I need to practice what I preach a little bit more when it comes to this, but you do want to do more static stretching at the end of the workout, as that is what's seen to be better for post-training. I likely will do a full video all about warming up, stretching, mobility and stuff at some point, but for now I just wanted to mention it so you guys had that in the back of your mind. So let me just take you guys through what a structure would look like as a quick little recap. You want to start with a dynamic warm-up to get your body nice, warm, and mobile, but not fatiguing yourself. Next, you want to move into your compound movements, which are going to be focused on full body recruitment, and these are going to be the movements that you can likely go heavier on, are going to be more fatiguing, so that's why you want to start with those. Then you want to move into your isolation or accessory movements, which are going to focus more on one muscle group, and these are the movements that you won't necessarily be doing at super heavy loads, which allows you to do that even after the stress and fatigue of your compound movements. Then to finish off, you will want to go through a sequence of static stretching, as that's what is seen to be best post-workout. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys and kind of broke down exercise choices and exercise order in more detail. And like I mentioned, if you ever have a question about what an exercise targets, it's very likely you can just Google what does blank target and it's going to tell you, or you can always reach out to me and ask, or you can ask anybody in your life who you think is reputable. And like I said, I think practice makes perfect and practice teaches more than anyone could. So continuing to be consistent, finding that mind to muscle connection and figuring out what targets what through experience is going to be very helpful as well. But I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and I hope you guys are enjoying this series so far. I'm definitely enjoying creating the content for you guys and genuinely just want to help you guys feel as confident as possible entering the gym, entering your fitness journey, and also learning along the way so that you guys can be the leader of your own success moving forward. If you don't yet feel ready, or you just feel extremely overwhelmed even after all of these videos, that is totally normal and okay. I felt very similarly at the beginning and needed a little extra support from my brother as well, so I totally understand. If you would like a coach to help you out or a personalized program, if you're just not feeling like you have the time or energy to create your own program, I do offer both things. You guys are more than welcome to apply. I'll have the link down below. It is the link in my coaching Instagram's bio always. And that is going to conclude today's video. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch, and as always, I'm a DM away or a comment away if you guys ever have questions that I didn't get to covering in today's video. But thank you guys so much for watching. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.